So, have you ever wondered if you could actually generate some serious profits in real estate, but without being the person grinding it out day after day? We're talking about a system where you're the architect, not the operator. Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now, what a truly hands-off model for real estate wholesaling looks like.
Here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the common trap most wholesalers fall into. Then, the automated solution. We'll meet the key players who make it all tick, walk through how to get your first deal done fast, see how to scale it up, and finally, really understand the strategic edge this gives you. All right, let's dive right into Section 1, the wholesaler's trap. And this really all comes down to one crucial question you have to ask yourself. Are you building a job or are you building a business? And here's the thing. This really gets to the heart of the problem. In the standard wholesaling model, the owner is the business. You're finding the deals, you're doing the negotiating, you're managing the buyers. Which means if you stop working for even a second, the income stops too. You literally become the biggest bottleneck to your own growth.
This right here shows that massive mindset shift. On the left, you've got the operator, totally stuck in the weeds, doing every single little thing. But on the right, you have the architect. They're working on the business, not in it. They're designing the system, controlling the flow of leads, and just routing the deals. It's a totally different game, less about the daily grind and all about systems thinking.
So that's the trap. What's the way out? That brings us to Section 2, the automated alternative. This is where we stop being the machine and start building one that works for us.
And this is the core insight right here. This isn't about hiring a huge team of people that you have to manage with all the payroll and headaches that come with it. No, this is about partnering up with proven specialists and just splitting the profits. You plug into what they already do best and boom, their incentives are perfectly aligned with yours. And when you do that, the results are, well, they're pretty powerful. You can start getting recurring revenue from these deals without all the usual management stress. You completely avoid the cost of carrying inventory or dealing with rehabs. And because the whole thing is automated, you can get true location independence. You can run this thing from anywhere in the world.
Okay, so let's pop the hood and see how this thing actually works. In Section 3, we're going to meet the 3 key players that make this entire engine run.
This table really lays out the whole operation. It all boils down to 3 distinct roles. First, you've got your lead generation, usually a cold caller. Second, you have an acquisitionist. This is the person who's actually talking to sellers and getting those contracts signed. And third, and this is the big one, the dispositions partner. Think of them as your sales powerhouse. They take your signed deal, market it to their list of cash buyers, and close it for a 50-50 split of the profit.
Now, what makes this so brilliant is how everyone is motivated. Lead gen and acquisitions, those are predictable, fixed costs. They're essential, but you're just paying for labor. The real magic is that dispositions partner. They're not an employee, they are a true partner with skin in the game. They only make a dime when a deal closes and you get paid. That's why choosing the right partner is probably the most critical decision you'll make in this whole system.
Okay, that's enough theory. Let's get into the practice. For Section 4, we're going to walk through what we call your first deal sprint. It's a process designed to prove this entire model works, and to do it fast with almost no risk.
I mean, just think about this for a second. For about $400, you can test this entire business model. That's it. That pretty much covers your initial leads and a part-time acquisitionist to work them. For a real estate venture, the barrier to entry is just unbelievably low.
And here's the game plan, all laid out in 2 weeks. Days 1 and 2, you get set up with your dispo partner and your acquisitionist. For the rest of that first week, your acquisitionist is just hitting the phones, making offers. By week 2, the goal is to get one of those offers accepted and signed. Then you just forward that signed contract over to your dispo partner and they take it from there. Notice how you are completely hands-off through the whole process.
So, what's the payoff for that tiny $400 investment? Well, let's say you get a pretty conservative $15,000 assignment fee. After you split that with your dispo partner and cover your initial costs, you could walk away with a net profit of around $7,100. Not bad for 2 weeks of your team's work, right?
And listen, this isn't just some theory. We're talking about real deals, real profits, closed using this exact model. Just look at the assignment fees here. They can range from a few $1,000s on the small side all the way up to, wow, look at that one, over $71,000 on a single deal. The system flat out works.
Okay, so you've done one deal, you've proved the concept works. Now it's time to talk about scaling. Section 5 is all about pouring some fuel on that fire and turning this thing into a consistent revenue engine.
Now, of course, scaling up means you've got to reinvest. You're going to move from that super lean $400 test phase to a more serious monthly operational cost of around $4,600. That's what it takes to fund a consistent flow of quality leads and the team to handle them.
But check out the return on that investment. You go from that one-time profit of about $7,000 to a potential monthly net profit of almost $33,000. That's the power of leverage, my friends. You're not trading your time for money anymore. You're investing in a system that generates money for you.
And if you look at the big picture, well, at scale, this automated engine has a conservative annual profit projection of nearly $400,000. That is the kind of financial power you unlock when you shift from being an operator to being an architect.
All right, let's wrap this all up with Section 6, the Architect's Edge. We're just going to quickly summarize the core advantages that make this model so incredibly powerful. So here it is, the winning formula. It's hands-off, so you can focus on strategy. It's scalable, because you can just turn up the volume on leads without getting buried in work. The incentives are perfectly aligned, and the risk is super low, since you can prove it works before you go all in. Now, that doesn't mean it's effortless. You still have to build the system and manage your key partners, but the key is where you're spending your time.
I think this quote just says it all. Your job is to operate the system. The system generates the deals. The team you've built monetizes those deals. And you collect your percentage. Simple as that. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Once you really master the art of automating your deal flow, it kind of changes how you see everything. It makes you start to ask, what other parts of my business, or what new business entirely, can I apply this architect's mindset to? The possibilities are definitely worth thinking about.